A bunch of costumed quackers. Here's a look at the numbskull. This is the Tubbs cosplaying ducks. A big thank you to the folks over at Numbskull for providing these. Today we're going to be having a look at the Crash Bandicoot cosplaying duck of Dr. N. Gin and the Tubbs Spyro Ripto. Now, before we get a gander at these cosplaying ducks, the first thing we're going to do is figure out how big these are. Cosmetically, they do change from one another, but I think the base for the mold are about the same. We're going to stop the tape measure from the bill. I should say I'm measuring from the bill to the tail. I'm going to stop it right there. These were, by the way, produced by rubberroad.com, but designed by Numbskull. According to the tape measure, if I'm reading this correctly, from the bill to the tail, you're looking at each one of these quackers being 4.3 inches in length. And that in centimeters works out to be 11.1 centimeters long. We're just going to go ahead and move these out of the way. I'll bring the packaging for both of them. As I said, they were manufactured, I should say, by, on the bottom there, rubberroad.com, but they were designed by Numbskull. If Numbskull does sound familiar, it's also the same company that produced the smaller replica scale cabinet of that Pac-Man arcade game that we had a look at in a recent video. I want to show you what the packaging does, however, look like for the Tubbs. I like the fact that they did have Tubbs with Z or Z. And then you've got, this one's number 2, Ripto. And then on the back there, the other figures available for the Spyro end of things. Number 1 was Spyro, number 2, Ripto, number 3, Allura, and number 4, Moneybags. The packaging for the other one, let's bring that one in here. Different color bottom base, but you've got Dr. N. Gin from the Tubbs line. This happens to be number 4 of the Crash Bandicoot line. And the other figures available for this, Crash Bandicoot, Dr. Neo Cortex, Coco Bandicoot, and Dr. N. Gin. The neat thing about them is that once you take there's like a little band of plastic with the peg, so you can mount this on a pegboard, selling it in stores. But when you do take it out, you could put them back in the container. Let me show you how they actually come out. They come like this. You just pop them off. You can take the ducks out, and then you can actually take the insert out if you wanted to. I think just adhesive like that, and you've instantly got yourself like a little soap dish. Obviously, the first thing popping in my head, and I'm sure the heads of many interested in picking these ones up for yourself, is can you put them in the bathtub? I don't see why you can't, and certainly by the idea of having the little soap dish, so to speak, the little storage place for the duck, even Ernie himself would be quite jealous of this rubber ducky. We'll go ahead and put the packaging back and just get that out of the way, because we really want to look at the ducks themselves. They are very intricately painted. And again, if you just put this on top like that, you've got yourself like a little secure container where you can store the ducks if you aren't using them at the time. Why don't we first start our looks with Dr. N. Gin from the Crash Bandicoot line. He looks very much like Dr. N. Gin. Obviously, one big difference is the fact that it's a duck dressed up as him than anything else. The duck itself does feel like it's got a little bit of a hollow nature to it. The fact that it also does have a hole on the underside makes me believe that you could most definitely use this in water. Underneath that, you've got the Numbskull logo, and you've got Tubbs.com if you guys certainly are interested in checking out more of the Tubbs line. I really do like these. And I like the fact that they do something a little bit different with the conventional idea of a rubber ducky. Rubber duckies are fine and all, and like I said, Ernie loves his rubber ducky, but taking that rubber ducky and elevating it certainly to the next level, you get something looking like this. The coloring that they've used, especially for the metallic plating on the side of the duck's face, is really a nice additional touch. I really do like how this one turned out. Relatively quite light, about as the same weight really as other rubber duckies. Can I say rubber duckies? Is it acceptable to be using the term rubber duckies? We're going to go ahead and run with that anyways. A nice broad, wide collar. I really do like this one. Dr. N. Gin turned out quite cool as a little rubber ducky. Not really sure which one I like more. Certainly the benefit of Ripto is the fact that he does have the additional coloring, a lot darker coloring than the other Dr. Engine that we already had a look at. As I said, the ducks themselves are about the same size to one another. The only thing that's really different between them is the cosmetics of adding all the extra stuff to them. Their eyes are kind of the same design. A little bit of that reflection happening in the corner, and a really kind of jet black eye that they've used for it. This one does have the horn on the top, and it's got the cape, or cloak, if you will. This one does definitely have a more vampire look to it, with a little amulet on the front. The paint that they used for it, it's not really even a shiny paint either. They kind of favored instead using a matte finish. On the underside again, on this one, you've got the little air hole, so that if you did have this in the bathtub, and again, I can't see why you wouldn't want to have this in your bathtub while you're, of course, washing up. You can have these little rubber duckies floating around, cosplaying as different characters. Of course, you benefit by having that little hole on the bottom that you can let out the water. I always want to suggest, if you have any bath toys, especially having a daughter myself now, I always want to make sure you get as much water as you possibly can getting out of these. I mean, obviously, most people of the adult variety, I would imagine 75% of you would likely be collecting these just because they're cool collectibles. There is that, of course, that smaller fraction of the pie, the 25%, that would want to be taking these in the bathtub. I might actually have my hand up for the latter and the smaller percentage of pie. Sure, these look great on, and something that you could put on certainly on the shelf, but I think I would be feeling compelled and robbing a disservice, a job that rubber duckies have done for so long and so well. I feel like I would be doing a disservice to these if I didn't happen to have them in a bathtub sooner or later. Obviously, there's a lot more tubs to go around just based on the packaging alone. Each one of these characters from each one of their respected video games had 4 different characters to choose from. That's a total of 8. With the plan as future projects, I think as well for Numskull, they're planning on producing a whole lot more of these. So if you're a fan of cosplaying ducks, which I have to admit I wasn't before, but I could see myself leaning more into the idea of picking up more of these, you'll definitely be interested in a whole lot of future releases from the folks over at Numskull. If you guys are interested in checking out more of the Tubbz line, you can go to www.tubbz, which is tubbz.com. And if you guys are interested in checking out more from the folks over at Numskull, you can go to www.numskull, which is NUMSKULL.com. You can check out the other stuff that they're producing over there as well. A big thank you, by the way, to the folks over at Numskull who are nice enough to provide these 2 cosplaying ducks that you guys had a look at in these reviews, or this review here. Let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think of the Tubbz line. And if you represent the 75% of the collectors that would only be displaying these on a shelf, yawn. Or if you would be of the 25%, and I am of that percentage, that would likely be putting these in the bathtub. After all, they're rubber duckies. Why wouldn't you want to put them in the bathtub? If you are new to this channel or a long-time viewer, maybe never got around to it, maybe you were taking a long bath and forgot all about it, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and swing on over to the homepage and see if there's any videos that tickle your fancy. There's going to be a whole lot of new videos coming soon to the end of this year and far beyond into the year 2020. I feel like I'm talking about the future, where we have rocket sleds and robotic dogs. So far as I know, neither of those things are happening, but you never know. 2020, 2020, I just like saying 2020. It sounds more futuristic than 2020. 2020, it's the future. I hope you guys are going to be staying tuned to this channel in the distant future with your rocket sleds. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.